Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of the Expert to Authority Show with Simone Vincenzi. I am your host, and this is the podcast for coaches, speakers, trainers who want to grow their businesses while making an impact in the world. Now, if you've been following our recent rebrand, you know that even though we are like 360 plus episodes in the show, this is actually episode number 2 of the new show. We changed names. If you didn't get it, make sure you go back to the other episodes that we've been running where we actually explained how why we changed. But today we are going to talk about recurring revenues, and in particular 3 business models that will help you grow and increase your recurring revenues. So stay tuned because it's going to be an epic show. We like epic shows. Also, I want to say hi to everyone who is watching live. I know there is my good friend David Kavanagh here. Hi, David. Good to see you. If you're watching live, make sure you you say hi. If you're watching the replay, put hashtag the replay. What else? Oh, if you're listening on the podcast app, on your favorite podcasting app, make sure you subscribe. Or if you're watching on YouTube on the recording, then subscribe as well to our YouTube channel. I've put a link as well for us to apply to work together if what you hear during the show resonates with you and you want us to help you attract your community, grow your recurring revenues, and become known in your field. Then make sure that you apply. There is the link, which is gtexmethod.com. Now that we have put all the formalities out of the way, let's get going and let's get started. So first of all, I want to talk about why recurring revenues are crucial, not a luxury anymore, but I believe that every business should have a recurring revenue strategy. And then we're going to talk about top 3 business models that you can use to increase your recurring revenues and create more stability in your business. Now, let's create some context around why the recurring revenue is so crucial. Right now, we are living in a period of time in human history with incredible uncertainty. We literally don't know what the heck is happening tomorrow. For some people, it's terrifying. For some people, it's exciting. For some people, terrifying and exciting at the same time. Some people can't be bothered at all. They just like life goes on. Everyone is reacting to these periods in our society and history in different ways. But if there is one thing that we can learn from very successful business owners or people that have been very successful in investing through history, is that in those periods of time, cash flow becomes crucial because you might have incredible months, you might have lower months. There is so many factors that are outside what is your control or what is predictable, that having a solid stream of revenue that gives you that recurring income, that once you get that client, then you know that you're gonna get paid for the next few months or the next few years even, then it creates a lot of peace of mind. It creates a lot of peace of mind instead of going through that roller coaster of launching something, going it up and down, where 1 month you have a great launch and then for 6 months later you have nothing, and then you have another launch and something happens, then nothing happens for a few months. That part is exhausting because also if you're relying only on a launch-based model, which is you're only getting clients where you open and close application or the card of your programs, what happened is that if that launch doesn't go well for one reason or another, well, fingers crossed everything goes well, but if it doesn't, then what are you going to do? You can't really reopen the same program because otherwise they feel that like you're lying. It's like, well, you said that program was closed, right? Why are you relaunching it again? And also you put all your eggs in one basket. Well, when you have that recurring revenue, when you have that stability of income that comes in over and over again, then you can make a more strategic decision. You have more cash that you can play with. You can forecast ahead. What are you going to invest on? What are you going to save on as well? And you act from a lesser reactive point of view, but more proactive point of view. Now, having said that, it's also easier to get someone to pay you once compared to getting someone to pay you on a recurring basis. So that's the truth. However, the time that you're going to spend to get that client to pay you once is the same time you're going to get spent to get the client to actually maybe pay you in installments or pay you for a membership and so on. So we're going to talk about actually the different business models, because I think that a lot of people, when they hear the word recurring revenues, they immediately think about memberships. I need to have a membership site. I need to charge $10 a person or $20 a person, have 100 people there or 1,000 people there, and then I'm going to make some money eventually. The reality, actually, that membership is not the only way in which you can use and increase your recurring revenue. So we're going to talk about 3 business models. Membership is one of them, but we're going to talk about 2 more. And actually, membership is not my favorite, and I'll tell you why. Now, one of the reasons why we started teaching even more now about recurring revenues, and it became a big part of my message, is because of something that happened last year. If you've been following my journey, you know that last year was 2021 was a very tough year. I spent literally just like the majority of the year licking my wounds and figuring out who I was again as a person, who I was as an entrepreneur, who I am as an entrepreneur. And also I had to reshape my entire vision of the world. Like, it was a year that, one of these years that were very formational, but I could dedicate less time to the business and less time to what I wanted to do. And I couldn't be as productive. I couldn't be as focused on selling and marketing like I was in the previous 8 years. And even though last year, 2021, was personally for me a period of stop in growth and a moment where we didn't grow as aggressively, even though we maintained the same level of revenues, that's where the thing hit. I was like, actually, having a business model that we have built over the years that relies on payments coming in from clients over and over again, that actually gave me the space to step back without the business falling apart. All our staff were paid. My salary was paid. We had money to invest in additional resources. We hired new staff members. So actually, despite the year of not being as aggressive or being so out there with my energy in terms of marketing and sales like I would normally am, then it was a year where I could take a step back, right, and give myself the space that I needed. And there might be moments in your business or in your life that whatever happens for you or in your personal life then will get you to be away from your business. What's going to happen there? Who's going to pay the bills? Who's going to grow, right? And you want to have this model before it's too late. That's the other thing. Like, you want to really think about having this particular business model before it's too late. Because when you need those recurring revenues, when you can't work as effectively, or you have to have extra expenses, or you need to plan ahead and so on, then now you need to start from scratch. So my recommendation is to start implementing those strategies that we are going to talk about straight away. There is doesn't have to be perfect, but at least you can move and make a step, because the longer you wait, the worse it gets. I'll tell you that straight away. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. And recurring revenues is the name of the game. To have that peace of mind, to have the stability in your business, and also making a bigger impact, because you're less worried about where is your next clients coming from, how am I gonna pay my staff this month, and so on. If you have staff members and team members like we do. So let's. Are you ready to get going? Let's get going, right, with the 3 business strategies to help you grow your recurring revenues. And number 1 is we talked about that a bit at the beginning. Is the membership model. That's the model that is most diffused, that is most known. When people talk about recurring income, a lot of time they think about membership models. And I think there's been a lot of marketing around it. It's not the only one. It's not my favorite, but it's one that is incredibly effective. That's why a lot of people are using it. Now, membership can be low-end, high-end memberships, but the concept of memberships, think about like a gym. think about a series of online courses or a membership that you pay for Netflix or for Spotify. The business model is very similar, where you generally will have a lower end in terms of tier of membership that will allow you access to certain features or certain particular content or a certain service from you that you are delivering for your clients. Now, the downside of a membership model, in particular when we are talking about monthly memberships, but not annual memberships, is that you have less predictability on what's going to be the stick-through rate. So it's going to be very easy to sign up someone to say, hey, just try for a month, it's $10, one try it on the training. But what are the chances they're going to stay on? Actually, a lot of times, unless you do a lot of work and structure work for retaining your member, which now we are going to go into a completely different topic, which I'm not going to expand on today, in terms of strategy for member retention. Actually, that could be another show, now that I think about it. But unless you're putting a lot of work in the retention of the members, about 70% of people, they will stop within 3 months. This is like industry statistics that 75% of people that are joining a membership month on and month out, where they can cancel at any time, they're going to try, but 75% of them, they're going to leave. So now you need to have the math. How much is going to cost you actually to acquire that member instead of time and money? And is it worth actually the fact that they might pay you $30 and then leave? Now, of course, if you're doing good work in retention, then those numbers they diminish, like they lower down the percentages in terms of people that move on. But it's still like a lot of people think that the membership model is like this holy grail until they try it. And I've tried it. I've tried everything. I'm someone who tests. I love to test. I love to implement. And I found that same thing. At some point, I was demotivated because there was very little money for the amount of work I was putting in, and there was this up and down in people joining and leaving, and I'd rather spend the time to sell someone into a higher ticket offer rather than a $10 a month, which unless you have hundreds of members, it's not going to change. It's not going to change things in the grand scheme of life, right? So that's the membership model, but it is particularly great if you want to build community. Like, to build community, the membership model is awesome because people feel part of something bigger than themselves. We talked about community in the previous episode of the podcast, so make sure you check it out on the 4 strategies to build community in your business. And the concept of people being part of a membership gets them to feel being part of something bigger. So there are other strategies if you don't want to apply the membership model to still build community and make them feel the same way. But that's one of the perks of using the membership model. I'm a member of this club. I'm a member of this organization. I'm a member is actually just the wording is a sense of identity. Like it becomes part of your identity. People say I'm a GTeX member, becomes part of their identity about who they are as entrepreneurs, what kind of value they resonate with, what kind of projects they're going to be involved in, what they believe in, what they don't believe in, right? So there is a lot of sense of identity, and that's why I like the word member compared to the word client. So when we are talking about the different ways to build recurring revenues, the membership is one of them. You can decide to have a lower end membership or a higher end membership. You can decide for the membership to be, for example, monthly, quarterly, or annually when they pay. Now, to sell an annual membership is going to take a bit longer for someone to make that buying decision than to buy something that they're going to try and then see if they want to stay on for about a month and so, or they can cancel at any time. So that's why I think it's important to know the pros and cons of every model, because it's not that one model is better than the other. I've seen people that are crushing it with lower end membership cancel at any time. They have an incredible business with that. And I've seen people that, like myself, is not what they wanted to do, or it was not their genius. And I've seen people not doing really well with the higher end offers and doing really well with the low end offers on the contrary. So I'm giving you the pros and the cons so then you can decide which model is better for you. So now is the membership model where you can decide monthly, quarterly, or annually, and then have people paying a lower amount or a higher amount depending on the level of membership. You can decide maybe even to have different tiers of memberships, lower, middle, and higher. And the more they pay, the more access they get to you or some exclusive material. But the name of the game in membership is retention. Retention is the name of the game because it's easier to get someone in, but it's more difficult to get someone to stay. So you need to put the work inside the community to make sure that people don't want to leave, because what they're going to miss out is greater than the payment they're putting in every month in their mind. Okay, so that's number one, membership. Number two, in terms of recurring revenue, and some people don't even think about it this way, and they very rarely make this kind of offers, is retainer offers. Is a retainer. So let's say that you do a piece of work with someone, and you had a great relationship with a client, you gave them great results. Adding a retainer program to after they start the initial journey with you. Let's say that, for example, your core offer is a 12 months or let's say a 12 weeks program. That's your core offer, or a 3 months program that people go through, for example. After that, there are going to be some people that will want to continue. Actually, if you do a great job and you give them really great results, or they feel that actually they need a bit more time to implement what they learned and what they need to go through, adding a retainer offer becomes an incredible piece that is not going to cost you much time, it's not going to cost you much money or resources, it's not going to cost you a funnel or so on. You can literally have a conversation with a client and say, hey, we have this retainer program that if you want to stay on and you decide now, or you give them a window of time at the end of their program, they have a great deal to pay on a monthly basis and to still have access to either what they had before, or some weekly calls, or some monthly calls even. And that's the part of the retaining program, because you have done already the chunk of the work. The biggest part of the work has been done in your core offer. So if you then add that part of the retainer program, what's going to happen is that people is going to be less time intensive for you, because your clients already got the core of what they needed to implement. And at the same time is great value for them, because they might come up with some questions, they might come up with some situations that they've not thought about, you have not thought about, and now you can help them brainstorm while they're there. So it doesn't even have to, the retainer program doesn't even have to be structured with a curricula. It can be like a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly calls or fortnightly calls that you're doing with them. So then they can keep having that support when they need, come back, maybe access to some of the people in your network, doing some bonus training for them. So that's how you can also bring your network into your community and build those kind of partnerships. So it's not something, it's not going to put a lot of work in terms of the creation process, because a great retainer program is actually client-led. I believe that every program is great to be client-led and community-led, but in particular retainer one, where you understand what the people that are part of the retainer program need, and you give it to them on a monthly basis. They are stuck in something, you help them solve it. If they need access to someone, or they want to learn a particular skill, tap into your network, get someone to deliver a guest training, bada bing, bada boom, retainer program. And instead of having the work completed after they finish working with you, for example, now you add an extra opportunity for your clients to work with you. Particularly, you've already built the relationship, so it's going to be a very easy sales. And then you can charge, $100 a month, $100, $200, $300, $500, $1,000 a month. That's depending on the clients that you're working with and the type of work that you do. That's why a lot of people, when they say, how much shall I price it? It's like, yeah, you decide your price. I think it's sometimes complicated too much. Find the number and then charge it. Find a number that you feel comfortable to you and then charge it. And then the moment you feel is not comfortable to you anymore, because you feel either you're overpricing or underpricing, then you change it. That's make it pricing simple. Okay. Now let's look at. So we talked about the first two business model. One is the membership. The other one is the retainer. I want to talk about the third one, which is my favorite. That's my absolute favorite, which is a high-end program or high-ticket program with flexible payment plans. So let me tell you how I got into this and why I like this model so much. I'm not saying it's the best one, I'm saying why I personally like it, okay? when we were doing all our testings and doing all our membership, when we had the membership and when we had higher ticket programs, one of the things that really annoyed me the most was the level of retention, which means that there is generally a curve. When if someone is one of your clients, for example, has a challenge, it can be a personal challenge, or if you're working with them in their business, or a business challenge, or part of the work that you're doing actually pushes their boundaries, and they have to do something that they are absolutely not comfortable with, they come up with obstacles, something doesn't go as planned, and they have an easy way out, a lot of people will take their way out because it's not easy, it doesn't work. While my philosophy is, let's find and fine tune and tweak until it works. Sometimes it works immediately, sometimes it works after 2-3 months, sometimes it works after 6 months. I'm not a fortune teller. What we can do, we can look at the data, we can look at the messaging and testing and tweaking. And you will find that a lot of the clients, if they stick through the process, then they will get results. But a lot of people quit too soon. And that's why I didn't like that particular business model, because as soon as someone had a challenge, they had an easy way out, and didn't allow us as a company, in some situations, to actually fine-tune it to the point where actually what we wanted to work on was actually working. So that's why we swapped the model by selling higher ticket offers, whether it's like in the thousands or tens of thousands of pounds or dollars, and then getting people to pay on a very flexible way on a monthly basis. So it was easy for them to get in. But now let's say that someone will take 1 year, 2 year, 3 years to cover the cost of a program at that particular part. Then we knew, and they knew, that they have a payment that they had to fulfill, because they didn't buy a membership that they can cancel at any time. They buy a program, they buy something that is fixed. And so they buy a payment option, they buy a financing option. So we finance the program for them. So in their mind, they are actually in for the full amount. It's not a membership that I can cancel every month. And so we found that our retention rates skyrocket through the roof, where we have about like a 6% cancellation rate on payment plan, which is really low. If you have hundreds of clients, 6% can deal with that. 75%, no, I can't deal with that, because I'm putting the same amount of work, in particular at the beginning. And we as an organization, as GTeX, we are putting the same amount of work, all right? So that's why when we stumble across that particular way of dealing with the payment plans and the recurring revenues, that actually after a few years we had tens of thousands of pounds coming in recurring revenues, and that built up even without realizing it, and it wasn't a conscious strategy. And then I started looking at it and I said, you know what? What makes us different from others? What is the success of our business? Well, is the fact that we have a lot of people paying on different payments every single month. That makes sure that my salary is paid, my staff salary is paid, and the team is paid, contractors are paid. And so the rest, we don't have that pressure that every month we are starting from scratch, we are starting anew. Now, the other great thing is that a lot of people, when they have great results and they have, or they want to keep paying off their thing, then they give you a cash bonus, because they say, oh, can I pay it off now? Oh yeah, of course you can pay it off. Boom, cash bonus. So it's a win-win-win, because it allows people that would love to join your courses to join them in a more flexible way. It and also start a journey with you. It allows you to build your recurring revenues, and it allows them to grow with you, so then they can even invite more people into your community, because every client that you have is someone that can introduce you to another 5 to 10 clients, and they are, in their mind, they are there to pay the full amount. So there is less conversation about cancellation, and your contracts are also done in a way where they are there for the full amount. All right? And that's my favorite business model. That's my favorite business model, to be honest, because we can be focused. We know that we can create a real partnership with our clients, where they're going to be in there for the long run. We are in there for the long run, and whatever obstacle comes in the way, we can overcome it, fine-tune a different strategy, and make sure that we can get the results that actually they want and we want for them. And that's why I love this particular model for recurring revenues. So now think about it. Based on your personality, based on what you would like to try, If you have something already active, add immediately like a retainer program at the end. It's gonna be something that you can literally come up with in less than 24 hours and launch it straight away. Get back to your client, say, hey, I love to. We're almost at the end of our working relationship of this program. Why don't we move forward in this way? So that's a one way. That will be the starting point after this conversation. But then you can play around. What do you want to add? Do you want to add a membership model? Do you want to add a retainer model? Or do you want to add as well a higher ticket with flexible payment plans for people to join? Something to bear in mind about payment plans is that you're going to deal, depending on the work that you're doing, you're going to deal as well with a cancellation rate. So have policies in place for someone. What happens if someone can't pay their installments, for example? What is going to be your internal policy? We have ours. Everyone has different policies, so think about what yours is going to be. That's the only thing to bear in mind. And what kind of work are you going to do to make sure that your clients then are going to have an incredible experience and actually will want to pay more, will want to either pay in full and they remain in balance, and they will invite other people to join your courses and community. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bam. I've said my piece. Make sure you put in place a recurring revenue model in whatever you're doing. It gives you freedom. It gives you peace of mind. Make sure that all the basics of the business are paid and more, because now the fun part and nice part and the great part is that when now your recurring revenues are higher than your expenses, right? And it means that every month it comes in, and yeah, you are actually in profit every month with your recurring revenues. But the beginning is about the goal is to break even, having your recurring revenues break even. So every new client that you get then is extra cash. Now is profit, right? And every month you start in profit. That's what you ideally want to do. All right. So let me know in the actually in the comments. If you're listening to the podcast and you're listening on the show, let me know also your thoughts. Leaving a review, a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcast. And let me know what were your takeaways from this episode. Reviews are the lifeblood of every show. So make sure you do that. If you are watching on YouTube, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also leave us a comment. Let me know what were your highlights about this episode. And if you are also live on Facebook in the group, in the Expert to Authority group, then you might be watching this live. Feel free to, or the replay, feel free to put a comment, ask question. I'm here to help and support you. If you are inspired about this and you say, actually, I would love some help in creating recurring revenues in my business, this is exactly what we do. We help you build your community, grow your recurring revenues, and get known in your industry using the power of speaking, media, publications. So if that's something that resonates with you, in fact, of building your own community, recurring revenues, and visibility, then there is a link, which is the GTexMethod.com. So GTexMethod.com, that's the link, GTexMethod.com. You can find also the link in the show notes. There is a page where it explains how the program works, how you can work with us, and then apply for a call. We'll have a chat and then see how we can work together and how we can support you in your business so you can get known, get paid, and make an impact. Thank you very much for watching or listening today. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode, which is actually going to be about the third pillar of the GTeX method, which is visibility. So we are doing this series. We covered community in the last episode. Today is about recurring revenues. The next one is going to be about the 4 pillars of visibility. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there, and always remember that together we grow exponentially. Ciao!